keep on watching. Keep on watching if you want to keep on watching. Hi beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin. For those of you who are new here, how have you been doing? It's been a couple weeks since I've chatted to you guys last, but it has been busy with me moving out. So you can tell I'm in a new place. I'm loving it so far, but now that things are a little bit more settled, I say little just because a little bit more settled, I have decided to plan out the month of September with you guys in my bullet journal. So this plan with me video is going to be using watercolors. It's not something that I've done before on the channel, and I'm really a beginner to watercolors. So if that is where you are at, you and me, same boat, we'll be learning together. I have decided to go with something a little bit simple and keeping it with a few colors. And then in the journal, I'm going to just be planning out things like my monthly calendar, my weekly spreads, and things that I want to track like habit trackers and a memories page as well. So if you guys are interested, just keep on watching and make sure to stay tuned to the very end where I shout out one of you guys. This is just what our cover page is going to look like for the plan with me in September. I decided to test out watercolors and ended up using the Arteza watercolor kit. Again, I'll have everything linked in the description box down for you guys like always, but the two colors that I ended up using the most were a yellow orchid and a rust red. Now I know that Archer and Olive, the journal that I'm using right now, has 100 GSM thickness for paper. However, I know that it is not foolproof to bleeding with water. So I have decided to opt for a watercolor paper instead because I know on the cover page I'm going to be using quite a bit of layering. On the bottom, I just end up testing out some colors because I don't want it to be too dark at the very beginning of the mountains. In the background, I want the lightest colors. With watercolor, you want to make sure that you are building up the layers. So a light layer in the background, and then you add in, once it's dry, that is the key here, making sure that the watercolor has fully dried, then you come in with a darker color, and that is what I'm doing here with a second mountain. For every layer that you end up doing, you want to make sure that you have less water. So the more water that you have, the lighter the color it is. I just end up adding more of the pigment, and by my last layer here, I end up including a little bit of a noir color, so black in there as well. On the top, I end up putting in the sun and the moon. I did get inspiration from a photo that I saw online, and I'll have that linked down in the description box for you guys if you are interested in getting some inspiration of your own. The two brushes that I ended up using here is a thick round brush, and then for a more detailed, smaller look, I ended up putting in this small detailed round. Now to add it to our journal, I just plop it in and then end up gluing it down. Note to self, if you are doing this, make sure that you have the paper completely dry before you put it in your journal. And what I ended up doing just to help it stick down a little bit better is I put a book on top to make sure that all of those edges were firmly in place. The September lettering that I did here is my faux calligraphy. I love it. It is a go-to for me, you guys know. And you just simply write out the letter in a bouncy style and then thicken those down strokes. That is the key when you are a beginner to calligraphy. The down strokes matter. On the second page, I ended up putting in my monthly calendar. I would usually use my Micron 05 pen, which I absolutely love for my lettering. However, I decided to stick with the watercolor in this case. I think it ended up tying the tones a lot better in the piece, and I really loved how it turned out, but you cannot really get a thin, skinny line, and I decided that it might just be easier to use this technique for the larger lettering in the journal. Considering I don't really have any experience in watercolors, if you guys did want to recreate something like this and are a beginner to watercolors, this would be really easy and perfect for you. I've gone back to my traditional calendar layout because I found when I did my August plan with me, I ended up missing having a visual space of a calendar. So here you will see I just end up using my ruler to plop out all of the lines. I know it is odd for me to use a ruler, but I've actually really been liking how clean the look is, especially when you have this floating kind of layout. I ended up numbering out all of the days, and that is just how it looks for the layout. I've also really been obsessed with Dutch doors lately, so on this little tab here I did a focus, and Emmy actually on my last video suggested that I use my focus word for encouragement, and I am going to be doing that again because it just helps me really focus in on what I'd like to work on for the month. Then I just have a space here for some favorite memories and a goals section as well. On the inside of that flap, I am going to be doing a monthly memories. memories. But because this is a Dutch door, I just have a little decorative piece on the right hand side here and ended up using the same kind of layout and colors that I did for my cover page. I really love how this turned out, but my one tip to you guys, if you are doing this technique in your journal, which I show a little bit later on in the video, is to only color in the sections that you actually need, because although the Art Journal olive paper is thick like I've mentioned, it did end up wrinkling a little bit once it had dried down. To track my monthly memories, I just like to write down about a line or two during the day of what I was grateful for. So it could be something small like going out for a walk or enjoying the weather, or it could be something really big like hitting my subscriber goals on YouTube. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really does help support my channel to grow. But this is just how it turned out, really simple and easy and quick to reference when I'm going back and writing things down for planning out my September. Moving on just to the next page here, I ended up going with a habit tracker. I love using a whole page dedicated to my habits so I can really focus in exactly on what I'd like to get done. This time I did a lot more of a decorative layout, and you can see the 4 habits. They only take up a small part of the page, but I do use the water technique I told you about this time instead of layering up all of the colors. It really did help with the page not to wrinkle as much, and I think it turned out just the same, or if not better. Personally, for me, when I am tracking my habits, I like to have dedicated boxes for them. I find that it is easier to color in, and I don't get lost in all of the numbers of the month, and it is great to kind of reference it per habit. So if I'm not doing something like drinking a lot of water or reading enough, that is something that I am like, okay, I need to focus a little bit more on during my week. I know some other people like to use a grid layout for this. I've done it actually in one of my videos in the past. I'll have that linked for you guys down below. But the 4 habits that I want to track this month are for reading, tracking my YouTube, working out, and then as well, making sure that I get all of my tasks done. Tracking how often I get all of my tasks done are gonna help me set more realistic goals in what I can accomplish in a day, instead of just dumping in a whole bunch of stuff that might not actually be realistic to get done during the day. I don't know if anybody else does that, but that is one of the things I really need to work on this month. I think this is my favorite page out of all of the ones because it is just so decorative and turned out amazing in my opinion. Now, one thing that we gotta track is our weeklies in our bullet journal. So this is just how I set up my weekly, and I've kept it with the moon and sun theme. So the moon, I did a darker color, and then the sun kind of a little lighter in the background. And again, make sure you let these dry. Or one thing that you can always do too is put a bit of paper towel on it, and it can soak up the excess water. On the outside, I ended up doing Monday all the way to Sunday, and then left a little spot to write down things like tasks that I need to get done that might not have a particular day, or it might be a note that I need to remember for the week. Just to kind of tie things in a little bit together, I used the watercolor to add in some blocked off sections for each day. And then I have been loving using my tabs in my bullet journal. It just really helps reference a page quickly, so I have done that again in this weekly. Just to tie everything in a little bit more, I did outline that moon with my Tombow Fudinosuke hard tip pen. I think it just kind of grounds the piece a little bit better. But all of these spreads that I've shown you guys so far are really great for beginners. If you are a beginner to bullet journaling, or even a beginner to using watercolors, I hope this helped you guys out. Here is just a quick flip through of what we did today together, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Well, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you to Kitty Lock for subscribing to the channel, and good luck on your move. Make sure, a little helpful hint is to unpack a box every day. I have found that is very helpful for me. If you too would like a shout out in the next week's video, make sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below. It really does help support my channel to grow. And if you're interested in seeing anything as well, let me know in the comments down below. Alright, I'll see you next time, guys. Bye! La 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 la. I'm in a new house. Oh. I feel very rambly today.